and welcome to the webinar, Advanced Facebook Ads for Everyone. I'm your host, Anna Sawyer, and I'm here with Chad Hacker, who I will introduce in just a moment. Thank you so much for joining us today, everyone. We have a really great presentation, and we are so excited to have you. So before we get started, I want to talk about a couple of logistics. First of all, if you would like to tweet the webinar today, please tweet using the hashtag AdvancedFacebook, and we will give a $25 Amazon.com gift card to one of you. So tweet something that you learned in the webinar, tweet some excellent nugget from our expert Chad Hacker. Secondly, this webinar is being recorded, and you will receive an email later today with a copy of the slides and a recording. So if you miss something or your audio cuts out or you have to leave early, don't worry. You will have all of this in your email inbox later today. So it is absolutely my pleasure to introduce Chad Hacker. He is the Director of Optimizer Enablement here at Trada, and he is quite the Facebook expert.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Facebook webinar. As Anna mentioned, I have been doing Facebook advertising for a couple years now and have worked with all different types of advertisers. So hope that I can share some of my experience with you, and you can take it away and learn how to do Facebook advertising for your business.
Folks, if you have any questions today, please go ahead and type them directly into the chat box. We love your questions. We will get to as many as we possibly can at the end. Questions are absolutely our favorite part of the webinar.
Absolutely.
We are really excited for the questions part. So moving right along, let's talk a little bit about people's perception of Facebook ads. Some of you may have been guests on our last Facebook webinar where we kind of went over the basics of Facebook ads, how they all work, and a lot of people's comments were, I just have been burned by Facebook ads. Facebook ads are so hard to understand. Facebook ads don't work, and you can see there are a lot of search results for Facebook ads don't work. We hope that we will show you today that Facebook ads absolutely can work using real-life examples from real companies who made them work and give you practical tips for making them work. So Chad, can you talk a little bit about people's perceptions?
Sure. I mean, I have heard over and over again from different advertisers that we have talked to that exactly what Anna just mentioned, that Facebook ads don't work. And part of what I try to do in sort of a consulting phase is change their minds a little bit about how to view Facebook. In the early days, the early adopters of Facebook were all rushing out there expecting it to be similar to maybe a search platform or other platforms that they had worked on. And they found out quickly that that wasn't the case. And so what I try to do is teach them different ways of thinking about Facebook and different ways of understanding what the values are.
So I'd like to jump right into a poll. Everyone, if you wouldn't mind just clicking directly on your screen, I'm interested to find out how many of you are advertising on Facebook, what your budget is. Are you spending $20K plus a month on Facebook? Are you just learning about Facebook ads? I'll give you just a moment to get your answers in, and then we will show everyone your answers. So here at Trada, we advertise on Facebook. We work with a lot of different clients who work on Facebook, and we've definitely seen a correlation between, people who have experience doing Facebook advertising, how much they spend on their budget and how successful they are. So we'll talk a little bit about, setting realistic expectations in just a moment. All right, I'm going to skip to the results. You have 1 second to get your answer in. And it looks as though, a pretty big percent of us are spending on Facebook. So we hope that we have, some really practical tips for you guys today on how to improve your Facebook campaigns and really get that measurable ROI from advertising on Facebook.
This is really interesting to see because a lot of the industry articles out there are showing that more and more advertisers are taking at least a portion of their marketing budget and putting it to Facebook. So it's becoming more commonplace for advertisers to utilize the platform to produce results for their business.
One thing, that I've been hearing a lot lately, and something that we have seen, just here internally, is that the time to try Facebook advertising, especially if you've tried it before and haven't had success, is now. There's so much opportunity now. It's so much different if you were advertising a year ago.
Absolutely. And so it's interesting, if you attended our first webinar, we went over in depth all of the different types of ads that are on Facebook, and a lot of these types of ads came out from feedback from advertisers that they weren't happy with Facebook advertising. So Facebook really, took that feedback and developed different types of ads that would serve different types of clients. So there's really something in there for everyone.
All right, moving right along. just, setting up expectations, we want to talk about how Facebook ads are not like PPC. This is fundamentally display advertising, and you should think about it a little bit differently.
Absolutely. So this is the number one thing that we hear from, clients is, my conversion rate on search is X, and I want that same for Facebook. That is the wrong mentality to go into any sort of advertising on Facebook. You have to understand that it's a different platform and is not like PPC.
So we are going to talk about 5 steps for Facebook success. And the very first one is to reconsider the value of the different types of actions you can get on Facebook. So on Facebook you can get a couple different types of actions, like a click, a conversion, a download, and this could be within your Facebook page or also on your website.
Absolutely.
So this is a statistic that I thought people would find very compelling. According to Social Code Report at the end of last quarter, fans are up to 547% more likely to engage with a brand than non-fans.
So this is a huge, huge statistic, and should be very compelling for all of you who maybe have not jumped into the Facebook space, that it is really important to get out there and start amassing a fan base. There's a huge value in that, in the fact that you can interact with these people long term, and ideally turn someone who is just a like or engaging with your brand into an avid follower and convert.
I think there is a perception that, spending money getting a Facebook like is basically useless. But I hope that we'll show, not only with statistics like this, but also that having people who are liking your brand, following your brand, seeing you show up in their feed can be immensely valuable. I mean, in many ways, you could compare this to maybe a list lead that you might buy from a list company, but this is immensely more valuable. This is someone who is opted in and incredibly engaged.
So it's interesting, just one more point on that. In the early days of Facebook advertising, when I was working with clients, almost nobody was interested in getting likes. They were always interested in some sort of traditional conversion event, and now more and more advertisers are coming in with the goal of getting likes and amassing that fan base. So there's definitely been a shift in the market to go and get those fans.
All right, so I have another poll for you guys real quick. I'm interested to know, if you're using Facebook, what is an action for you? So are you targeting likes? Are you driving conversion traffic to your website? And we will talk a bit about driving conversion traffic to your website. We have some examples of that. Are you downloading are you driving traffic to download an app on Facebook, which I think is, if you have an app, Facebook is an excellent medium for that.
Absolutely.
Or do you actually have a Facebook store where you can have, an e-commerce store where you can drive conversions?
So I'm really excited. Later on in the webinar, we have some different examples, as Anna mentioned. Probably building e-commerce into your Facebook page is one of the newest things. So we can talk a little bit about that and how to maximize that for your business.
All right, let's take a look at the results. While we talk about the results, you do still have time, it seems, to get these in. And by the way, this is a multiple choice, but a multi-answer question. So you can answer, more than once. So it looks like a lot of you are driving for likes on your Facebook page, which is great. It's so good to see this.
It's interesting. As I mentioned just previously, in the early days, nobody was interested in getting a like. Everyone was focused on a conversion. Now you can see that those looking to drive likes are slightly higher than those looking for a conversion. So again, that shift is happening, and people are recognizing the value of a like.
Even just a year ago, less than a year ago, I remember people were almost exclusively driving traffic to their websites.
Yep.
So this is great to see. So here is an actual case study where we can show how a company, this company is called Spirit Hoods. These guys are friends of the show. We're big fans of Spirit Hoods here at Trada. This is an e-commerce company. These guys make these cool, furry, cruelty-free animal hoods. They have a very, cool, hip following. And this is an example of how these guys have taken their fan base on Facebook and used it to generate a ton of buzz. They use giveaways. I'm going to give you an example right here. And Chad, if you can talk a little bit about the story here.
Sure. So one of the things that we know, just sort of being close to Spirit Hoods and having worked with them, is they recognize the value of engaging with their fan base and really working to turn their fan base into an actual, more traditional conversion. So one of the things I tell all of my clients is it's one thing to get a fan, but the most important thing and often overlooked thing is once you have a fan, how do you engage with them? And Spirit Hoods really has some great examples of how they have engaged with their fans and seen an increase in sales.
Yeah, so I have here, guess the exact final score of the game, and we'll give away a free hood. I love this. Your Spirit hood picture on a Times Square billboard.
How great is that?
I would, enter that contest. And here we have another example. This is so totally based around an event. We're sitting here watching the game, and we want to give you an amazing deal. We won't tell you what the deal is, so you actually have to text to this number. There's a little bit of gamification here.
Absolutely.
This was a great promotion, and they had a ton of traction from this. And these guys are not even, I believe, currently advertising on Facebook. So the point is that they actually just took their existing fan base and had this great response from engaging their brand.
Yep.
All right. Moving on. If you're a B2B company, and I know that we touched on this a little bit earlier, you can think of a like a lead, but one who is very engaged and receptive. We are a B2B company. We use our Facebook page to share content, to share offers, to talk about webinars that are coming up, ebooks that we have, and it is very much like a lead that you would nurture, except that they are much more engaged.
So to that point, I think it's really important to note that many people say or believe that Facebook is not a good B2B advertising platform, and I would disagree with that. I think there are a lot of opportunities for B2C, but also for B2B, if you're using it in a thoughtful way to attract potential other businesses and leads, you can really do some great things for your business.
Everyone, if you have questions, please go ahead and type them directly into the chat box, and we will get to as many questions as we can at the end. So moving along, here's another statistic that I thought was really interesting. As recently as last quarter, Facebook was offering a discount of as much as 45% on cost per click rates if you are driving within Facebook as opposed to another destination. So here, thinking again about the value of a like, you could even be getting that like for much cheaper than you thought.
So this is really interesting, and this was sort of blowing up all of the industry blogs and articles for the past week or so. This study recently came out, and Facebook is hypersensitive to their user experience, and they want to keep people in the Facebook space. So if you are using social ads that engage with consumers to get a like, to get an app install, something like that, they're going to give you a significant discount on your actual cost per click.
Awesome. So guys, let me move along. A lot of you have been asking about our last Facebook ads webinar where we talked very specifically about all the different types of ads. It was very much an introduction to Facebook ads. Everyone, you can watch this webinar at trada.com/resources, and you can also download the slides at a link that Sarah, the awesome marketing intern, will send out right now. All right, let's move on to step number 2 in becoming successful in Facebook ads and getting that measurable ROI. So step 2 is targeting intuitively.
Absolutely.
All right, let's talk a little bit about, there is this great potential with Facebook, 800 million users, this massive crowd of people, but how do you get your ads in front of the right people? So, we want to talk a little bit about how you actually want to target, obviously, a large number of people, but you want to target them, in very small numbers and then have messaging that speaks directly to them.
So 800 million people can be very daunting, and I think a lot of people who are not familiar with Facebook advertising shy away from that and maybe don't know how to use the targeting to maximize their results. The wonderful thing about Facebook advertising is there are so many different ways to target your customer base and can be really effective in reaching the right people. And we're going to talk a little bit about how to target in different ways.
Yeah, this is a specific example. This is, actually a Trada customer. Hi, Bellagio. So this is a sort of like, cool Vegas nightclub, and we're going to go through a couple of the targeting examples that they use. They agreed to allow us to show you the back end of the way that they target people on Facebook. So here is a very sort of obvious choice, people who might be interested in Las Vegas hotels.
So, I always tell people to start out with the most obvious choices. You don't want to miss those. And, Hyde's been working with Trada for a while, and we started out their campaign with some of these most obvious choices of, targeting people that like Vegas, that like casinos, that like gambling. Those are pretty obvious, but then we got into some more nonlinear thinking.
So here you will see we are targeting DJs. DJs, so Hyde Bellagio would have a DJ event. So, you know, Trada's optimizers would target people who like that DJ, but also other DJs like that.
So this was really important for us to work with Hyde and to let them know that they need to communicate with us every time they have an event coming up, because it allows us to explore different targeting that might not be so obvious. And a perfect example is DJs. This was an incredibly successful ad for them. You know, DJs have a strong following, and there's a lot of crossover between different people that like different types of DJs. And if we hadn't targeted based on this event, we may have missed out on that segment.
Oh, this is one that I'm particularly fond of because I think it's hilarious and effective. The ad here says, "Party like a Kardashian." And they're targeting people who like keeping up with the Kardashians.
So, you know, I mean, this is an optimizer that has clearly thought outside of the box a little bit, wanted to test a little bit if, you know, some of these celebrity following, specifically with the Kardashians, might be successful for a Vegas client. And it turned out that it was. So always, you know, don't say... I would say always think outside of the box a little bit and try different things and always be testing different strategies.
One of the best things about Facebook and paid search and other mediums like this is that you get instant feedback. You get instant data. You can tell what's working and what's not working. You know, if this ad didn't work out for some reason, you could stop spending budget on it. But it is absolutely, especially in Facebook, I think more than any other type of advertising, worth really thinking outside the box, really thinking creatively and intuitively, and writing copy specifically for these, you know, for these demographics.
And one other note on this, I encourage everyone to use this as a resource when you're doing Facebook advertising. Facebook provides a report that you can access, which is a demographic responder report, which will tell you who has been the most responsive and give you their sort of demographic profile. So as you learn more and you see who's responding, you can continue to target those people and maximize your results.
One great thing about Facebook advertising is they definitely give you all, you know, a lot of great reporting, so many tools. I love their reports. They're also just impeccably designed, easy to read,
Absolutely.
Really easy to understand. They really do give you all the tools you need. Is that called the Demographic Responder Report?
Demographic Responder Report.
All right, everyone, check that out. And then just organizationally, if you could talk a little bit about how they managed all these different campaigns. I mean, you know, they might have a DJ on this date and a DJ on another date. How did they keep all that super organized?
So one of the things that we always suggested with Hyde is to separate their campaigns out based on an event and target, you know, a start time and an end time. One of the common mistakes with Facebook advertising is to have a single campaign and then just throw a whole bunch of different types of ads in there. Not the most effective way to do it. So if you break it up into smaller campaigns, you know, if you're doing event marketing, maybe 2 to 3 weeks prior to the event and then maybe a week after the event would be a good suggestion for a start time and an end time. And you can maximize your results that way.
Excellent. Let's move on to number 3 of our 5 ways to maximize Facebook results. Create attention-grabbing ads.
Absolutely.
So this is something we could talk about all day. I've actually pulled up a few ads that I think are really good examples, and I'd like, Chad, if we could talk a little bit about why they're good.
So one of the things we always tell our clients, and one of the things that we've learned, is the image is very, very important in Facebook advertising. You want to create images that grab a user's attention. Excuse me. You want to create images that elicit some type of emotional response and that, you know, compel users to click on. Facebook, you know, as a medium is very image-centric with, you know, posts from friends and colleagues, and because the advertising's on the side, you want to divert their attention and make sure that they see your image.
I think a really good example on this page is the one at the bottom, the Disco Ball hoodie, made from ultra-rare disconium. This is an ad that actually caught my attention a few weeks ago before I was even screenshotting ads for this webinar, and I screenshotted it and sent it to our CEO because I thought it was hysterical.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is a very clever ad. I have a few more examples here. This one at the top I think is great. Have a boot addiction? Wow, that sounds like me. You know, bright colors, just, you know, really easy to understand. These offers are very compelling. Just like in PPC, you know, having an offer in your ad so people understand what to expect. Only $39.95 a pair.
So it's interesting, when it comes to ad copy, we always recommend a strong call to action. And different clients work different ways. The ad on the top basically maximizes all of the available copy space. You don't always have to do that. Sometimes simpler is better. But what you always want to do is tell the user what you want them to do. One of the things I like about the second ads, the very first thing, it says, like us for a free. They're telling like us, and many people miss that when they're creating their ad copy. So be sure to tell the user what you want them to do.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I love about the ad in the center is that everyone knows that Intuit, involves, most people would think that on the other end of this click you would have to buy something really expensive. But they're saying all we want you to do is like us. This is very, very compelling.
Yep.
So I have what I think is actually a bad example here. The two at the top I really like. I think that is a super attention-grabbing image up at the top. I really like this short story challenge one because I thought it was different from a lot of other ads I've seen out there. They're asking us to engage in. The call to action here is quite different.
Sure.
Let's look at the one on the bottom. What is the call to action here?
So there's one thing that I like about the last ad, and then I'll talk about what I don't like.
Okay.
I think it can be very helpful to include some sort of question in your ad. It does tend to increase engagement. But I have no idea what the image is telling me. Like, as a user, I look at that and I don't know what they're offering. I have no idea.
What is on the other side of the click? I have no idea.
And it's not a super attention-grabbing image.
No.
A guy working on a computer slash a logo.
Yeah.
Like, it's sort of morphed together two different images and just not a great choice.
I will say, though, I am always a proponent of conversational ad copy. Ready for the cloud? That's good. But still, I have no idea what you're offering me here, so I'm not going to click on you. Finally, going back to this Disconium ad, I wanted to talk about how I think this is a really excellent landing page outside of Facebook. We are such fanboys and fangirls of driving your traffic within Facebook, but many people are able to achieve a positive ROI driving traffic outside of Facebook, and I want to talk about a couple of the things that I think are really great here. As with, other advertising mediums, when someone clicks on your ads, especially if you're, an e-commerce company, you should drive traffic to a page that has exactly what that person is looking for.
Yep.
So, I clicked on this ad. I want to find this shiny hoodie. This sends me to a page where I can buy the shiny hoodie. But I think there's also a super great and compelling call to action on the right-hand side. Like this product, want to model it on our site, all you have to do is send in your photo and you could be on our site. I love this. This is super compelling.
So again, this is a perfect example of an advertiser who is ready to engage with their fans. They have a well-thought-out plan of, once I get somebody to my to my landing page, how am I going to engage with them? And also just like that it's sort of in line with Facebook. It's fun. It's a little bit different. It's a little bit hip. So they really put a lot of thought into it.
They absolutely have. I think this is super clever. I'm a big fan of humor in advertising, especially on Facebook, where people are there to have fun.
Absolutely. It's a social medium.
It's a social media. All right, let's move along to number 4. This is something that we are very passionate about here at Trada, constantly creating and testing ads. Ad fatigue is a really big issue.
Ad fatigue is probably the biggest challenge with Facebook advertising, and there are some studies that suggest that ad fatigue can kick in with as little as 3 impressions. So you really do need to be prepared to test and rotate and have different images and ad copy ready for your advertising.
So I think this is a really great tip. Set aside a small % of your budget for creative testing. Keep in mind, and this could be a very small percent, that a little bit of your budget is not going to go directly to people clicking on things. But there has to be something out there for testing.
Absolutely. And one of the mistakes that people make is they think, oh, I can just take some image off of my website, or I can just go Google and take some images off of Google Images. I do not recommend that, by the way. But it's one of the mistakes that people make. And they learn fairly quickly that it takes, some time and some effort and a professional, maybe graphic designer, to help you come up with those compelling and engaging ads.
Awesome. So, we can say ad fatigue kicks in after 3 impressions, or we can say whatever. But I think that there's actually a very measurable and predictable way to make sure that you combat ad fatigue. And that is to have your ads already ready. So, have ads for the future prepared, be constantly creating them. And then as soon as you see that drop in CTR, I can almost guarantee that this graph is not ever going to go back up again.
Right.
So as soon as you see this drop,
so, yeah, there you go. I mean, this is a perfect example of the metrics that Facebook gives you. You can see a drop in your CTR, and you should have other ads prepared and ready to go.
And what are the things you should test? Well, there are 3 different major variables within your ads, so here are the 3 things that you should test: image, copy, and targeting.
So, with the image, the first one, I always recommend to clients, let's come up with a specific targeting profile, and then without changing anything else, test at least 2, if not 3 different images, and see which one is driving the most engagement. You can do the same thing with copy and the same thing with targeting. This is not new to Facebook. In any medium that you're advertising, you should be testing different variables. But we found even with the copy, if you are tweaking just minor words, you can get an increase in your CTR.
And we strongly suggest that you get away from the sort of classic Mad Men style of red ad, blue ad, where they're exactly the same with just some small, image, change or color change. Here, you really should think outside the box. Think of clever images. Think of images, other than just your logo, especially if you're not a big brand. Are people really going to be, drawn to your logo? A good example is even, though we know who Dell is, that sort of boring picture of the guy looking at the computer next to the Dell logo, that's not something that's going to get me to click.
In general, I recommend all clients to not use your logo, to think a little bit more outside of the box and to what is going to grab somebody's attention.
Absolutely. All right, number 5, and this is the one I'm the most excited about. Have a plan to capitalize on your new fans, customers, or leads. So you've spent all of this energy and money and time getting these people to like you, or getting these people to come to your page, or getting these people to do whatever. You should have a plan before you even go into this.
So almost immediately, this is really important. It's again, what I mentioned in the beginning, it's one of the most overlooked things. And if you don't have that plan in place, people will, as soon as they become fans, they will become disengaged if you don't give them a reason to continue to follow you. So you have to have that plan in place prior to going to get the fans.
So first we're going to talk about a true Hollywood Facebook story, which is actually us. So, we are a B2B company. A lot of people have the perception that Facebook is not a good medium for B2B. But as I mentioned before, B2B companies can use Facebook as a lead nurturing, medium, and can allow them to engage on their Facebook page. So if you go to facebook.com/Trada Marketplace, you'll come to what is called a squeeze page. Now this basically says, like us, and we'll give you a thing.
So this is becoming more and more commonplace in Facebook. Many businesses are customizing different landing pages, implementing squeeze pages to help consumers along the path, to help them like your page, and then there can be 2 or 3 other steps along the way to collect other information. But if you're not currently doing this, we do recommend exploring it a little bit. Think about how you can build a custom page for your Facebook page.
And this is incredibly simple to build. And what we're doing here is we're basically initiating a trade. We're saying, like us, allow us to speak to you occasionally, and we'll give you this incredibly valuable free 50-page ebook written by your friend Anna Sawyer.
There you go.
So once a user clicks on this, we have something new. Thanks for liking Trada. Here now you can download your ebook. And then we've actually placed a lead form on this page too, because why not? Maximize your space. If you have this page here, maybe somebody might be interested in using Trada. This is a great place to have a demo request form.
And the benefit to this, as we mentioned earlier, you're still in the Facebook space. So you're still getting a pretty large discount on your cost per click and not driving a user to an external website. If users log into Facebook, they want to be in the Facebook space. They want to engage with friends and colleagues and other businesses, so keep them in that space.
Yeah, I mean, again, not that people don't have success driving to external pages, because they absolutely do.
Sure.
But we are going to talk about some ways to keep them in this space, because we see a lot of people having success here. So we do want to suggest that you go to see the Trada squeeze page in action. Go to facebook.com/Trada Marketplace. And Sarah, if you wouldn't mind typing that directly into the chat box so everyone can see, we are actually going to do another Amazon.com $25 gift card giveaway. If you go to our Facebook page, like us, and leave a comment about the webinar today, we will choose one of you and give you a $25 gift card.
That's great. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing all your comments. So
if you will remember, we are also giving away a $25 gift card for tweeting about the webinar using the hashtag #AdvancedFacebook. So you have 2 opportunities here to get some sweet cash and buy yourself a $25 gift.
There you go. And by the way, for all of you who are sort of seeing this and maybe not understanding how to build a custom landing page on Facebook. There are lots of providers out there that can do this for you for relatively cheap. So don't be scared of it. You can get it done and go out there and see who's offering what.
Yeah, for a Facebook developer, this is one of the simplest things they can do.
Exactly.
You basically need a design, you need a plan, you need to be able to set up to be prepared to deal with these leads or deal with whatever you're going to use, and then a Facebook developer should be able to implement this in just a few minutes.
Yep.
So keep that in mind. So I want to talk about an e-commerce example of a similar thing. So you know, when we are talking about the value of a like as an e-commerce company, offering coupons, and actually this would also work for B2B, you know, offering offers, but offering coupons is a really great way to maximize those likes. So this is Burt's Bees. They make, you know, chapstick lotion. You know, I'm a big fan. So if you like Burt's Bees, you get a coupon. Lots of companies do this, and lots of companies see great success. They do a really good job of pushing as much social proof out into Facebook as possible. So this action is automatically posted to the user's wall. I know because I did this myself, and it was posted on my wall. So you like the coupon, and then they actually give us another chance to post to Facebook more details about this coupon that we've gotten.
So this is a perfect example of a company that has really developed a plan to maximize the sort of social viral growth. You know, if you do something like this and it's posted to your wall that you just like this coupon, guess who sees that? All of your friends. And then they can like that and it will post to their wall and all of their friends will see it. So when you're thinking of different ways to engage, keep that social element in mind.
All right, and let's talk finally about what about having a Facebook store? You can actually have an e-commerce store right on Facebook. This is another brand that I was marketed to, given my love of outfits and clothes. This is Tory Burch. So Tory Burch actually has an e-commerce store directly inside Facebook.
So this is probably the newest evolution of the Facebook marketplace, is that people are starting to build e-commerce solutions within Facebook, and this is a perfect example.
Folks, if you have questions, we are going to get to them very soon, so please type them directly into the chat box. I just saw one come up that I want to address right away. Bonnie wants to know, how much does it cost for programming for something, the squeeze page that we built on Facebook? I think we paid our designer, you know, she worked on it for like probably 4 hours, you know, and I mean, she makes standard designer rate $100 an hour. And then I believe the development literally only took an hour.
Yep.
I mean, it is, for a Facebook developer, this is very, very cheap. So however much you normally pay your developer, I'm guessing we got this whole thing done for $500.
Yeah, and I would say costs can range a little bit depending on what you're trying to do. If it's a simple squeeze page that is mostly a graphic design component with some small coding on the back end, that's relatively easy. If you're developing an e-commerce site within Facebook, that can be a little bit more expensive, but it just depends on what you're trying to do.
Yep. All right, let's move on to the, you know, sort of let's talk about what we all talked about today, the final word on Facebook. In order to be successful on Facebook, you need to set expectations appropriately, calculate the value of your actions, really rethink what it means to have a like on Facebook. I mean, I feel as though this entire webinar has been in passionate defense of the like.
Absolutely.
Target intuitively, you know, think outside the box in terms of both targeting and ad copywriting, and then never stop testing. Just keep swapping those ads out. You will see a sharp decline in click-through rate as you see ad fatigue kick in. And then finally, have a plan. Think about unique and interesting and fascinating ways to maximize, you know, when you finally do get people to like you. Chad wanted to talk a little bit about fan envy.
Fan envy, absolutely.
And how fan envy can help you.
It's interesting that this is becoming a more common thing, that I speak with clients who, you know, are saying, well, my competitor has 5,000 fans and it's going up every day, and how do I get something like that? If you have not checked out your competitor's Facebook page, you should. You know, they're more than likely in the Facebook space amassing a fan base, and you want to get out there and compete with them. You know, who knows how the evolution of Facebook will be, but you want to be an early adopter, and you want to make sure that you're getting that fan base and keeping up with your competition, because they're out there engaging with those people, and you should be too.
Yeah, I mean, one of my favorite marketing strategies is to see what other people are doing and then plagiarize it.
Absolutely. You can always steal ideas and themes and sort of use that to engage your fan base as well.
Absolutely. All right, before we get to your questions, we want to talk about just a couple of things. First of all, many of you are multi-time Trada webinar attendees. And if you have ever wondered what goes on behind the scenes, I strongly ask you to visit the Trada blog today, because we posted a post last night, which is my passionate defense of how we actually do monetize our webinars. Very specific tips. If you've ever thought about doing webinars before, I get a lot of people wanting to sort of pick my brain about how we do webinars. It's all in there, people. So please visit the Trada blog at trada.com/blog. Leave comments, please. I would love to see an engaged conversation about how we can make our webinars better, what you love, what you miss about what we used to do. So please check it out.
Yep, I checked it out this morning. Some really, really great tips on there, so be sure to go take a look.
Oh, thanks, Chad. All right, before we get to your questions, we are going to talk very quickly about how Trada can help you with Facebook advertising. And believe it or not, it actually doesn't cost any more than if you were to do it yourself.
This is true.
The way it works is we have a community of Facebook ads experts and ad creatives, graphic designers, and it's a massive community. When you join Trada's marketplace, you have access to these people. They work on your campaign on your behalf. You have a great deal of control because you manage them from a high level. It's very much like having employees, except that you don't have to buy them desks and you don't have to have them fill out W-9 forms. Because multiples of them work on your campaign at the same time, you get this great intuitive hyper-targeting. If Chad and myself and 10 other people got into a room and all thought of targeting, we would get, a much more diverse response than if it was just, Chad himself working on them, even though he's very good at Facebook ad targeting.
Well, thank you.
You also get constant optimization because people have the time to log in. And most importantly, you have essentially free ad creative, which is, for many people, the ultimate barrier to success when it comes to Facebook ads.
So just to quickly talk about that a little bit, that is a really important point, the free ad creative. The way our marketplace is set up is this dynamic interaction between optimizers and creatives. So optimizers will come, work on a campaign, and think of different ways to target, and then they can request certain types of images from our creatives. So they're sort of bound together in coming up with the best strategy for you as an advertiser.
So moving on, it is actually incredibly easy to get started. If you would like a demo, please just go ahead and type "I'd like a demo" into your chat box, and we'll teach you a little bit more about this amazing Facebook advertising marketplace where you can have other people do it for you. Here's a quick real case study. These guys are KP Elements. This is an e-commerce company. I think one of the best things about this case study is that unlike the Bellagio case study, this is, these guys don't have like a sexy product. This is something this is something that clears up red bumps, and they've had great success using Trada for Facebook. They have, as of our press time, they had 400 unique ads. Their click-through rate increase was 142%, and they had a 45% improvement on their cost per click. So they saved money, didn't have to pay fees, and got better results. So these guys did pretty well on Facebook. So we are going to get right to your questions. Everyone, if you have questions, please continue to type them right into the chat box, and we will get to as many as we possibly can. So I'm going to kick it off right now. Give me, please, just a moment to get organized. I have so many questions and little windows all over my screens. One moment. So, one moment. Jonathan wants to know, can you post your ad in specific times during the day, say from midnight to 6 a.m.? So we have this in search. It's called day parting.
It's called day parting.
Do you have this in Facebook?
It's not currently something that Facebook offers. The only way that you can do it manually is to, say, create some ads and then pause them at the time of day that you don't want them to show. I realize that's not the ideal way. Rumors on the street are that Facebook is looking at developing different ways for day parting. Maybe if you don't want your ad showing at 3 o'clock in the morning, then you would be able to put in those parameters. I know that our team of engineers are also working on day parting options for the Trada marketplace, so we should have that up and running within a couple of weeks.
Awesome. That's really good to know. So Dora says, I know that Facebook has some fairly particular rules for promotions. Would the "like us for a free reader" ad trigger Facebook rules? I was under the impression that advertisers couldn't compel users to like in trade for items.
So that's not entirely true. Advertisers can compel users to like them. You see it more and more popping up all the time. I will address the first part of your question, is that Facebook does have very specific guidelines for many, many different things, including profile targeting for certain types of advertisers, like dating sites. You have to have a certain profile targeting, any sort of alcohol advertising, stuff like that. So be sure to check out their advertising guidelines and become familiar with all of the different editorial review stuff.
Thanks, Chad. And this is a similar question. I believe when we were showing the Spearheads study, Andrew said, that example looks like a contest, but isn't running a contest like that on your Facebook page without a third-party app against Facebook's promo rules?
Not to my knowledge. I mean, we have lots of advertisers that we work with that do all sorts of different types of contests without a third-party app.
Perhaps because it's a giveaway, it's a different type of contest?
Yeah.
I've seen lots of advertisers do this, but I would like to look into this a little bit further. Perhaps.
Yeah, I think we would need to do a little bit of research on that.
Yeah, Andrew, if you'd like to follow up with us on that, give us an email at sfox@trada.com, and Sarah will make sure that that gets to the right person. So I think this is a great question, because we hear this all the time. Our company is an IRA custodian. Boring. Have you worked with financial companies and seen results? And perhaps more broadly, I mean, does Facebook work for companies and for verticals that are maybe not quite so exciting and fun?
Well, the truth is, whatever your company is, your users are on Facebook. So yeah, as a financial company, definitely your target market is on Facebook and using it daily. I think most companies have to change the way that they market, and they have to be a little bit more exciting and a little bit more engaging and outside of the box a little bit, which is hard for some companies to make that shift. But you definitely can do it and be successful on Facebook.
Especially because you can target people who are interested in that demographic. Because you can target based on what people like and based on who people are. You have so much more opportunity for this. And we actually saw in some of our ad examples some kind of not super, sexy ads into it.
KP Elements?
KP
I don't
Elements?
know.
Yeah,
Bumps on your arm. But
exactly. I mean, I actually think that it does illustrate that there is room for opportunity for advertising on things that maybe people wouldn't necessarily think are like super fun. It's not all nightclubs and disco hoodies.
And because of the targeting, you can make sure that your ads are getting in front of the right people. You just got to grab their attention. So always keep that in mind. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I see ads for disco hoodies, but someone else might see ads for financial stuff. So next question, and I think this kind of dovetails nicely into this. Chad, I'd like to hear, and so would Cheryl, your thoughts on what industries do really the best with Facebook advertising?
So some of the top industries are entertainment industries. Travel and leisure does very well on Facebook advertising. Some of the more hip, trendy companies like Spearheads do quite well on Facebook advertising. But I will tell you that there are studies out there right now with regard to who is clicking on Facebook ads, and it's not who you would always think. There's a large demographic of, say, women over 50 who are clicking on ads. So, people think maybe that Facebook is all 20-somethings playing around and clicking on ads, and that's just not the case anymore.
Absolutely. I'm going to take just a tiny little break from the questions to talk a little bit about our podcast. Guys, if you like our Trada webinars, you will love our Trada podcasts. We post on basically, essentially a weekly basis. If you have been in one of my webinars with frequent webinar partner Matt Hessler, he is my partner in crime on the podcast. This is usually between 5 and 7 minutes of extremely dense and topical tips in all forms of internet advertising. So we would love it if you would go into the iTunes store and search for Trada. Sarah will also place the link right into the chat. So if you guys are interested in subscribing to our podcast, this is just a weekly dose of really dense information, and we have a little bit of fun as well.
It's really cool though. It's 5 to 7 minutes, and even Sarah mentioned this morning that she was checking it out as she was walking her dog. So incorporate it into your day and learn a little bit more.
Excellent. Thanks so much, guys. Let's continue on with the questions. Ricky says, how many campaigns and ads do you run at a given time for an account? It could really vary.
It really does vary, and I would say there's no limit on the number of campaigns. You can create as many campaigns as you want to maximize your spend and to explore as many different targeting and themes as you want. So I would say there's no limit on the number of campaigns. I tell clients that we always, when they're working with Trada, we have at minimum 20 to 25 ads queued up, so that as soon as ad fatigue kicks in, we can turn on another ad. And then, throughout the lifetime of a campaign, depending on how long it goes, you could have several hundred ads.
Everyone, we're getting a lot of questions about Trada's minimum monthly spend in order to use Facebook. For Trada. We do have a minimum monthly spend. I believe, though, that our sales team is working with people based on their expectations and what they're looking for. So I actually don't want to give you guys an answer to that because I feel as though I won't give the most informed answer. What I would suggest is go ahead and type "I'd like a demo" into the box. And we'll hook you up with someone who can answer that question. And if it seems right away as though it's not a good fit, we definitely won't waste your time. So if you are interested in learning more about Trada's minimum monthly budget and how Trada can help you with Facebook, please just go ahead and type "I'd like a demo" right in. We'll have someone follow up with you today.
Yeah, and we are working with all different types of clients with different budgets. So it's not, everyone that we're working with is spending 50 grand a month on Facebook. We have, all different types of clients. So be sure. I would say don't not do a demo if you're worried about that. Check out the marketplace and check out what we can offer, and then we can go from there.
We also, are talking about having for smaller companies, a self-serve option in the future. So definitely get in there and learn as much as you can about it now. And if it's not a fit right now, we can get you, on the list for the future. So we're going to take a couple more questions before we wrap up, everyone. Tom wants to know, what is your best recommendation for optimizing when one ad outperforms another within one campaign? And I believe he has a follow-up in terms of impressions if one always has a higher volume.
So I think what you're sort of alluding to here is Facebook's algorithm for ad serving. There's a lot yet to be learned on that, but what I always sort of think of is if I have one ad that's outperforming another one, but I think the other ad should be performing and maybe just isn't getting served by Facebook, I might start a separate campaign for that and put that ad in the new campaign. And really the way I think of campaigns in Facebook is it's more akin to ad groups. So you can have, again, as many campaigns as you want if you think about as many ad groups as you want, and maybe take that one ad that's getting starved out and put it in a new campaign.
Great, thank you. I'm going to take a couple more questions here. Everyone, please remember to go to facebook.com/Trada Marketplace and leave a comment about something that you learned today for the chance to win a $25 gift card. You can also win a $25 gift card for tweeting something that you learned today using the hashtag Advanced Facebook. I just remembered it. So Josh has a few questions here specifically about bid price, and I'm going to lump them all in together. How do you determine your bid price, and what is a good CPC price on average? Is 31 cents really good for CPC? These are kind of in a similar...
Yep. So it'll vary a little bit by different industries and verticals. What I always recommend is start out bidding high. Having worked with the team directly at Facebook and been able to ask some of these questions myself, while they won't tell me exactly what is used in their ad serving, they have alluded to a confidence factor in your bidding. So if you are very confident in your target profile and are willing to bid higher, maybe at the high end of their suggested bid range, they basically have told me that we believe this advertiser is more confident in who they are targeting and will serve your ad and likely give you a cost per click for less. And I would say, yes, 30 cents is a very good cost per click for Facebook.
Wow, that was an amazing tip. I feel like I should write that down. That was great. So here is a really great question that has to do with sort of cross-channel promotion. Derek says, I'm already using PPC and Content Network. How much budget should I spend on Facebook?
So it's interesting. Your budget is going to depend based on what your goals are. But one of the things that I am super excited about, and I know Facebook is testing this, is what they are calling downstream conversion tracking. There are lots of studies that have been done and some initial tests that have been done that launching a Facebook campaign will actually improve the performance of your search campaign. So if you're thinking of it, again, like a funnel, what would happen is somebody would see an ad of yours on Facebook and we would be able to track sort of downstream when they go to a search network and convert. So people still are very comfortable using, Google, Yahoo, Bing, etc. to go and search, but they're first exposed to the brand on Facebook. So we have some clients that are working in the marketplace for both search and Facebook, and after launching their Facebook, have seen anywhere from a 3 to 4% increase on conversion volume.
Wow.
So keep that in mind as you're deciding how to allocate your budget.
Wow. I mean, and we always suggest that you try a lot of different mediums and use the data from each medium to inform the other mediums. I mean, one of the best things about PPC and Facebook advertising is that you get this great, you have the ability to A/B test copy and images and ideas and offers. You can use them to inform one another.
There you go.
So we suggest trying all sorts of things to see what works. I'm going to take one more question, folks. This one's from Alicia. Is there a source for finding out more about Facebook's demographics? I'm just not sure my target audience is on Facebook.
I am absolutely sure your target audience is on Facebook, 800 million people and growing. So, I would say there are some definite, industry blogs and articles out there that you could just go and Google and find out a little bit more about, the demographic breakdown of Facebook users. I don't have one off the top of my head that's like an absolute yes, go to this source, but go Google it. There's lots of different articles out there on demographic breakdown.
How about just going in and signing up for Facebook ads, which is free, you don't have to spend any money, and then going in and typing in some things and seeing if you can find your demographic in the targeting?
Well, that's an excellent suggestion. As you are building your Facebook ads, Facebook will tell you an estimated reach based on your targeting. So if you go in and start plugging in who you think your target audience is, you'll find out very quickly if it's 5 people or 5 million people.
I think that is a really excellent point, and I just want to reiterate a little bit. One of the things that Facebook does that's really awesome is when you are setting up your targeting on the back end, you enter, something that someone likes, and I can guarantee that it will populate. And it will tell you, based on, your geo-targeting and based on, what age you're targeting, how many people this could potentially reach.
Right.
So powerful, so important, and very, very important for planning your campaign. You may decide that it's not worth it to go after a certain segment, or you may find a great deal of opportunity in a certain segment. You may be like, holy bananas, 100 million people like this thing. Who would have ever known?
Well, and what's interesting is a lot of first-time Facebook advertisers, when they are going in and plugging in different likes and interests, I don't know if they understand or realize that Facebook will, as you start typing in a like or an interest, they will start populating things. And they're populating things because they exist in the Facebook marketplace, because people have liked or put this in their profile or something like that. And people are often surprised. They're like, wow, somebody actually, there's a market out there for this. So go play around with it. Check it out.
Yeah, and Alicia, remember, you don't have to pay anything to go in there and poke around.
Yep.
So give it a whirl. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Chad and I have had a really excellent time presenting to you today. Everyone, Chad Hacker, thank you so much for being here.
Hey, it was a pleasure. Thank you, everyone, for attending. I hope you learned something, and go post it on our Facebook page.
Exactly. If you have any more questions, or if we missed some of your questions, we love to continue the conversation. Please go ahead and send an email to sfox@trada.com, and Sarah will make sure that the right person gets the email. Alicia, if you want to tell us what your industry is, email us. We'll see if we can figure it out for you, figure out how many people you can target. And then finally, everyone, you will receive an email later today with a copy of the slides and a video of this presentation, so you can watch it over and over. Everyone, thank you so much for coming. We will see you in 2 weeks for our next PPC webinar. This is the end of the webinar.
Have a great day.